All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is the final 2022 NFL mock draft that I will be giving you guys. It's not going to be a 7 round mock draft. Too much to do in a 7 round mock draft. So I'm going to be giving you a full first round mock draft, which will be the last one that I'm going to do at the time of recording. It is 11 o'clock on Wednesday, so about a day and a half out from the commencement of the 2022 NFL draft. And I think this one is going to be one of the more out of the box type of thinking that you're going to see, honestly, because I factored in the fact that a lot of teams have multiple first round picks, and a lot of teams that do have multiple first round picks don't like to stay where they are. They like to trade up. There's been so many rumors swirling around. I think this is the first year in a long time that you really don't know what the top 10 is really going to look like. So I really tried to think outside the box. I tried to take all the rumors that I heard and I tried to put it into something that I think could look a little bit realistic by this time on Friday. So without further ado, I think we should just get into it. Like I've said before, I have all the picks on my phone because I forget everything. The first pick is pretty easy though, especially since literally 20 minutes before I started recording this, a report came out that the Jacksonville Jaguars gave Cam Robinson a 3-year, $54 million extension. So I think that kind of ixnays them taking a tackle. I know they still need another tackle, but if they're going to pay Cam Robinson left tackle money, I don't see them taking a player that is going to play on the right side of the line with the first overall pick. I think that would be kind of crazy. So I think you go with the best defensive player on the board. And I know I've gone back and forth over the past month if it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson, if it's going to be Trayvon Walker. For me, it's got to be Aiden Hutchinson. What you see is what you get. And I don't like banking on potential with my first overall pick. So I'm going to go with Aiden Hutchinson, number 1 overall. And then number 2, I think it has to be Kayvon Thibodeaux, honestly. I don't believe so much in the Trayvon Walker hype train. I think that he's a perfect early-ish mid-round, first-round prospect. I can see someone who we're banking on absolute potential being a top 10 pick. So I think that there's a multitude of different ways that the Detroit Lions can go with this pick. You could see a quarterback. That would be pretty shocking. You could see Malik Willis going off the board. I could see Sauce Gardner going off the board, Trayvon Walker as well. But I think do the right thing. Kayvon Thibodeaux is probably the best edge rusher. He is the best edge rusher left on the board, and he has the potential to be the best edge rusher in the entire draft class. So I don't think that they overthink it, and they go with Kayvon Thibodeaux. And then number 3 overall, with the top 2 edge rushers off the board, I know how much Lovie Smith loves his edge rushers. So you could argue that this could be Trayvon Walker. You could argue it could be Akeem Ekwonu, and I've seen some people say it could be Evan Neal. I think bolstering the offensive line is really, really important, probably the most important thing for the Houston Texans to do in this long rebuilding process. But I'm going to go a different way. I know for the past 5 mock drafts I've done, it's been Akeem Ekwonu at number 3. I'm going to go Sauce Gardner. I think with the amount of homework that Lovie Smith and Nick Caserio have done on Derek Stingley and Ahmad Gardner. Ahmad Gardner's met with them 3 times already. You could also argue this could be Derek Stingley, but I think that Gardner is the better prospect, and I'm going to go with him at number 3. Just obviously fills a massive need. He loves to play press, and Lovie Smith loves a long physical cornerback. And then at number 4, I'm going to give in to the recent reports, and with Kayvon Thibodeaux and Ahmad Gardner off the board, there's only one logical pick for me here at number 4, and it's got to be Akeem Ekwonu. I mean, whether Mekhi Becton plays another game in a Jets jersey or not, I think you kind of have to pick for the future here. Either it's George Fant's long-term replacement, or the Jets are really thinking about trading Mekhi Becton. But I think that if Akeem Ekwonu is on the board at number 4, Joe Douglas does not hesitate. I think Ekwonu is the choice for Joe Douglas. It wouldn't really be my choice, but there's really no one else to go with here. I'm not really feeling Trayvon Walker. I know the Jets are super high on Jermaine Johnson, but I don't think that using the 4th overall pick on Jermaine Johnson would be wise. So I think Akeem Ekwonu is the safest pick here for the long term as well. And then number 5, you have the Giants, and I've gone back and forth between Charles Cross and Evan Neal. I think this pick absolutely has to be a offensive tackle, especially with Ekwonu off the board, Sauce Gardner off the board and Kayvon Thibodeau off the board. Doesn't really make sense to go any other way. You could argue wide receiver, but maybe at pick 7. I think pick 5 with these guys still left on the board, it just makes too much sense. I'm going to go with Charles Cross. The reports are that the Giants absolutely love Charles Cross, and he has the potential to be the best pass protector in this entire draft, and that's exactly what the Giants need, and that's exactly what Brian Daboll needs to run his offense. So Charles Cross is the pick for me at number 5. And then number 6, I'm going to make my first trade. I've been adamant on this for the past couple weeks or so. I think it's quarterback or bust, honestly, in the first round for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I don't think that they stay at 20 and they wait until maybe Desmond Ridder or Sam Howell or even Kenny Pickett is there. I think they go get their guy that they're super high on, and that's going to be Malik Willis. I had this trade the other day, and I think it would look something like this, maybe another pick in 2022 thrown in, because it's a similar trade to what Chicago and the Giants did last year. I believe the Giants got the first round pick, a first round pick, a fifth round pick, and then a first round pick and a fourth round pick from the next year. So I kind of like this because you're trading up 14 spots instead of 9 spots. So I like the third round value here. The Steelers get to keep their second round pick and they get their franchise quarterback. So I think that is a trade that can definitely go down. So with the 6th overall pick, I would like to see the Pittsburgh Steelers get Malik Willis. I could honestly see the Steelers trading up to number 6, kind of starting a domino effect here. It's been known that Joe Schoen and Shane, I've heard Schoen, whatever it may be, whatever his name is. He has stated that the Giants could be looking to trade back from their second first-round pick at number 7 to fill more needs and get more picks. And I'll be honest with you guys, this for me could either be the Kansas City Chiefs or the Green Bay Packers because they both need a wide receiver. And I can't see them sitting back in the back end of the first round with 2 first-round picks, just staying there and waiting to see who falls to them. I like the Green Bay Packers here and to trade up to number 7. And I'll tell you the reason why. The reason why is because the NFC is a lot weaker than it has been in past years. You have a 2-time consecutive MVP in Aaron Rodgers, and the road to the Super Bowl through the NFC just got significantly easier in the offseason. So I don't think that they have to give up both of their first round picks. I kind of mapped this out earlier. If I could remember, it would be 22 and 53, and then a second round pick from next year, and that would get them 7. I mean, I'm not completely 100% on the draft capital. It is what it is. I mean, those draft capital trades are really, really tough to kind of like predict, but I think it would look something along the lines of this to get the number 7 overall pick. And then I think that it's going to be Garrett Wilson. I don't think that the Green Bay Packers are in a position, if they trade up to number 7 to get a wide receiver, to draft Jameson Williams. And the only reason why is because their wide receiving core is so bad right now that they need someone that could step in day one and be an impact player from right away. And that is Garrett Wilson for me. Jameson Williams, a guy that could go to a team that has a little bit better of a wide receiving core that could wait for him to come back at 100%. So I'm going to go Garrett Wilson here at 7. And then number 8, I'm going to make a trade again. And this might be the most unrealistic trade out of all of them. But I'm going to say that with Jameson Williams still on the board at number 8 and Garrett Wilson gone, I think that the Atlanta Falcons kind of look to trade back and acquire more picks because, you know, they could get Drake London, they could get Jameson Williams, but I feel like Garrett Wilson was the perfect weapon for them offensively. So I think with him gone now, they kind of look to trade back, use their 29th and 30th overall pick. I think I had it mapped out before. I think it was something along the lines of this. I could be wrong. I should have taken a picture of it before. But 29 and 30 and 94 to move all the way up to number 8. The Atlanta Falcons get another mid-round pick to add to their plethora of mid-round picks, and they get 2 first-round picks because, honestly, yeah, you could go for a wide receiver right here, but is it really, really going to help you in the long run? Really, I don't think it is. The Atlanta Falcons arguably have the least talented roster of anyone in the NFL, so I think you just trade back, you get as many picks as you possibly can, and then you work from there. So I like this trade here. I'm going to have to force it. But at number 8, this is where Jameson Williams comes off the board for me. I feel like this just makes too much sense as a Tyreek Hill replacement. I know they're going to have to wait a little bit until he's fully healthy, and there's absolutely no guarantee that he is the player that he was when he comes back, that when he comes back. But reports have said that he actually looks fantastic and he's way ahead of schedule. So I think that Kansas City makes the necessary jump to get Jamison Williams, and um, I love the fit there. I really do. And then at number 9, with Evan Neal on the board, the Seattle Seahawks just run up to Roger Goodell and they give him the card. It's got to be Evan Neal. You could argue it could be Derek Stingley, but the offensive line is just in such shambles that if Evan Neal or even Charles Cross is here at this point, I think you have to pull the trigger on that. And then at number 10, this is where I have another trade up slash trade down situation with Jamison Williams off the board, and you already got an offensive tackle. You could say Jermaine Johnson would be the pick here. I think you still have to go out and you have to get a wide receiver for Zach Wilson. So I could see the Jets sitting here at number 10 and taking Drake London. But I think that Howie Roseman is not going to stand pat with the 15th and 18th pick. And I think they're going to make a trade up with Derek Stingley still on the board and them needing secondary help so desperately opposite Darius Slay. I think they call up the New York Jets and I think that they make a trade. I think it could be something as simple as this. I think it could be 83 and 101 or 83 and 124, something along those lines for the 10th overall pick, because this is kind of a similar situation to when the Jets traded up last year to get Elijah Vera Tucker. I think they gave up both third-round picks to Minnesota to get him. So I think it's kind of a similar situation. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to say that at number 10 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles get Derek Stingley at number 10, which would be an absolute steal, in my opinion. And then another pick here that you could argue it could be a wide receiver. Um, I don't know. I think that with Kyle Hamilton on the board and the type of versatility that Kyle Hamilton could bring to the Washington Commanders secondary and defense as a whole, I think Hamilton makes a lot more sense. And he's sort of kind of creeped back up into that top 15 talk again. I know that he went way down after his poor 40 time, and once you get a poor 40 time, the speculation begins and it swirls. But I think Kyle Hamilton is still an absolutely fantastic player. I think he plays the game faster than his 40 indicates, and I think that he would be an excellent addition to the Washington Commanders secondary at number 11. And then number 12, I think this is the one pick that I've had a constant for every single mock draft. I think with all these talented players off the board, with Gardner, Stingley, Hamilton off the board, you could argue Jermaine Johnson, but after signing Zadarius Smith, I don't really think that that would make sense, especially with Danielle Hunter on the other side being healthy this year. I think it has to be Trent McDuffie. Their secondary has been lacking for some time now. They haven't really been able to figure it out. So I think McDuffie would make a lot of sense in Minnesota. And then at 13, you already improved the defense with getting Ahmad Gardner at number 3. And I think that you really need to focus on pass rush here. With all the top offensive linemen basically off the board at this point, it wouldn't make sense to reach for someone like, you could argue Trevor Penning here. I think it would be a little bit of a reach at 13 for all the needs that Houston has. I like Trayvon Walker here. I think it makes a lot of sense. You bank on the potential. I'm much more comfortable banking on the potential at number 13 than I am inside the top 5. So Trayvon Walker fills a huge need for the Houston Texans at 13. And then 14, another constant that's been for a couple weeks now for me, is at 14, the Baltimore Ravens could spend this pick on Trevor Penning and get that much more protection for Lamar Jackson. But their defensive line really needs some playmakers. And I like Jordan Davis here at 14. I think it's just an absolutely perfect fit. And then we swing around back to the Jets here at 15, and where they could have taken a wide receiver at 10 and not acquired some picks. That's exactly what they do here. They get a wide receiver still at 15, and they acquired some draft capital as well. So Drake London is sitting here. You need to add that home run level threat for Zach Wilson, and Drake London is a guy that could win 50-50 balls all day down the field. And I like Drake London to the Jets here at 15. Wouldn't be my first choice. In an ideal world, I'd have Kayvon Thibodeau at 4 to the Jets, and I'd have Jamison Williams at number 10. But, this isn't an ideal world. I can't let my biases get the best of me here. So Drake London at 15 makes a ton of sense for the Jets. And then at 16, pretty straightforward. You could argue it could be Chris Olave here, but I think tackle is first and foremost the biggest problem that the New Orleans Saints have. And I think with Trevor Penning still on the board, I think that just makes too much sense at 16. And then 17, yes, Chris Olave is on the board. And a lot of people would jump at that opportunity, but I'm really I wouldn't be against that either. But I'm really not second guessing the fact that the Los Angeles Chargers could use this pick to shore up the right side of their offensive line. The center and the left side are great. You got Rashawn Slater, Matt Filer, and Corey Linsley, but the right side is just absolutely terrible. The guard position, the tackle position, just not where you want it to be. And in a division where Randy Gregory just got signed. Chandler Jones just got signed. You want to protect your number one asset, and that's Justin Herbert. I like Zion Johnson here because he can kick out and play right tackle if necessary, but I think he could be a Pro Bowl level guard, all pro level guard right away in the NFL, especially in this type of offense. So I like the Los Angeles Chargers to kind of take a step back and really, really see what's more important. And for me, that's protecting your number one asset, Justin Herbert, because you don't go very far without Justin Herbert if you're the Los Angeles Chargers. So Zion Johnson is the most polished guard, in my opinion, in the draft. So I think he goes there at 17. And then number 18, the Eagles definitely need some edge rushing help. And with Jermaine Johnson surprisingly still sitting on the board, I think this makes too much sense here at number 18. You feel a massive need right away, and your defense looks that much better with Jermaine Johnson and Derek Stingley right off the bat. And then at number 19, so, the New Orleans Saints don't pick Chris Olave at number 16, but he's still here on my board at number 19, and that's exactly who I'm going to go. Right away, you improve your offense tenfold with getting Trevor Penning to shore up the rest of that offensive line, and then you go out and get a number one type wide receiver in Chris Olave with your 2 first-round picks. I think it's a massive W there. And then at number 20, it's even been a report that Carolina could look to trade back and get someone like Kenny Pickett if they trade back. And I think that's exactly what they do. They acquired some much needed draft capital to make their team that much better. And they go out and they get their franchise quarterback. And then number 21, the constant that I've had the entire time, I haven't even given it a second thought. Devin Lloyd at number 21 makes too much sense for the New England Patriots. And then 22 with the Giants trading back from number 7. I really like Nakobe Dean here. The linebacking core for the Giants has been very worrisome the last few years. I know they still have Blake Martinez, but you need to add some more playmaking ability in the middle of that defense. And I love what Nakobe Dean could bring to the table for the Giants at number 22. Let me go get him real quick, Nakobe Dean. And then at 23, I feel like there's a bunch of different ways that the Cardinals could go. Kyler Murray has been complaining. What an absolute shock. He's a big baby, in my opinion. I'm not really the biggest fan of Kyler Murray. That's a different discussion for a different day. You got George Karlaftis on the board. You have Tyler Linderbaum on the board. You have Treylon Burks on the board. You have Devontae Wyatt on the board. Kenyon Green is on the board. I'm going to go with Karlaftis, though. I think you need to definitely replace what Chandler Jones has brought to the Arizona, or at least attempt to replace what Chandler Jones has brought to the Cardinals defense the last few years. So JJ Watt is not the long-term answer. You need someone young in there that could potentially be a beast off the edge. And I think that's what Karlaftis can be. Very polarizing prospect is George Karlaftis. I see a lot of people like him and a lot of people absolutely despise him and think that he's going to be terrible. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't think he's going to be, a 15 sack a season guy, but I think that he could be a Max Crosby type player where he brings you, a ton of pressures off the edge, and the sack numbers might not be there all the time. I think Max Crosby had 8 sacks last year, but his pressures and his knockdowns were off the chart. I think that's what Karlaftis can bring to the table. And then 24, another team that I thought could go a multitude of different ways here, but I like Kenyon Green to the Dallas Cowboys at number 24 because of his versatility. The right tackle position is not good for the Dallas Cowboys. The center position isn't that great for the Dallas Cowboys. And they signed Connor McGovern to play, I think it was left guard. Kenyon Green is a guy that could play anywhere on the offensive line, so he could step in there and play tackle, and he could be your guard of the future as well at a Pro Bowl level. So I think that the Dallas Cowboys played their best football when they had the best offensive line in football, and I think they have to try and get back to that if they want to be a force in the NFC again. So I like Kenyon Green there. At number 25, with Devontae Wyatt sitting on the board, man, it just makes too much sense. But the secondary of the Buffalo Bills, besides for Tre'Davious White, especially in the cornerback room, is very, very thin. And I think with Trey White coming off of a serious injury, I think you do need to shore up that position. And I think with Andrew Booth still on the board, I think that that's a perfect fit at number 25. And then 26, I would never be surprised if the Tennessee Titans turn around and take a Desmond Ritter or a Matt Corral type quarterback here. I really think that that is a possibility. That would definitely be a huge shock in this draft. But I think at number 26, with the offensive line troubles that they have, I like Tyler Smith here because of the versatility. He could play tackle, he could play guard. But Linderbaum sitting here just makes way too much sense for me to shore up the absolute middle of that offensive line. I like Linderbaum at 26. And then 27, another team that could go a multitude of different ways here. You have Devontae Wyatt sitting on the board. You have Tyler Smith on the board. You have Dax Hill and Lewis Seen on the board as well. But I like Kaiir Elam. And the reason why I like to go secondary here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is because after this season, they have to make difficult decisions on Jamal Dean and Sean Murphy Bunting. And we've seen that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got burned last year when their cornerbacks weren't fully healthy. So I think getting that much more depth and then getting a cornerback that could potentially be a cornerstone of the future would make a lot of sense for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have a lot of luxury picks, it feels like. So Kaiir Elam there makes a ton of sense. And then at number 28 with Devontae Wyatt still sitting on the board and the Green Bay Packers in need of some defensive line depth. And Devontae Wyatt, I believe, had a 95.8 PFF rating in the pass rushing department in college. That's exceptional for an interior defensive lineman. I think that he would be an absolute win for the Green Bay Packers at number 28. If they could trade up and get Garrett Wilson and then still have their 28th overall pick and get Devontae Wyatt, I think the Green Bay Packers have one of, if not the best draft classes from the first round of any team. And then at number 29 with back-to-back picks for the Atlanta Falcons, it has to be Treylon Burks for me. You need someone for Marcus Mariota to throw the ball to. You could argue George Pickens here, but I think Treylon Burks is a guy that comes in and is a physical, dominant wide receiver right out the gate for the Atlanta Falcons. And he's a nice pairing with Kyle Pitts as well. And then, wide receiver is probably their biggest need. And then their next biggest need is probably edge. So I like Ebiketie here out of Penn State to come in and be that one of the surprise picks, I guess you can call it, at the back end of the first round. I think that he could bring tremendous pass rushing ability to the Atlanta Falcons, and they cross off their two biggest needs right away in the first round with these two picks instead of staying at number 8 and picking a wide receiver. So I like the back-to-back picks here for the Atlanta Falcons at 29 and 30. And then another team that I could see taking Tyler Smith at the back end of the first round, but I feel like they don't need, they have Lyle Collins now, Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, and Jonah Williams. So really they only need the center position shored up. I can't see them drafting Tyler Smith as a luxury pick, because then who do you play at center? I guess you could put Ted Karras at center, but I think they would want a more traditional center in the later rounds, maybe like a Cole Strange or a Cam Jurgens, someone like that, or a Dylan Parham who could play center as well, or Luke Fortner. I think that they hold off on that for now, and they go with a cornerback. I like Kyler Gordon. He's been flip-flopping for a lot of people between the end of the first round and the second round. I think that he definitely goes here at the back end of the first, and he's a great fit for the Bengals in their secondary. I like Kyler Gordon a lot. And then with the last pick in the first round in my final mock draft, there's only really two ways I think that the Detroit Lions can go here. But with a pick at number 34, I feel like they honestly hold off on a quarterback here. I know that the 50-year option is huge. I know that quarterback needy teams could be looking to trade up to the 32nd overall pick and take a quarterback just for that 50-year option. But I couldn't really find too many teams that would want to trade up to the 32nd overall pick and take a quarterback that's left on the board. So I think they stay here, and Quay Walker is a name that I've heard a lot of people talk about being a back end of the first round talent that could be a surprise this year. So the Detroit Lions desperately need a linebacker, a quarterback on the defense, if you will. And I think that Walker would be a fantastic addition. He's a run and chase type guy that can make plays all over the field. He's a sure tackler. And if you don't know much about Quay Walker, watch his tape and you're going to be thoroughly impressed. So I think that would be the pick that ends the first round in 2022, and a great find for the Detroit Lions. So there you have it. That is my final first round mock draft of the season. I don't know how much content I will be dropping to you guys. Unfortunately, I am going to be working every single day of the NFL draft. So I've been doing draft content for the past, like 5 or 6 months, and I won't even be able to watch the fruits of my labor. Well, I'll probably be wrong on all my picks anyway, but it's a little bit upsetting that I won't be able to watch the draft. But duty calls. So I will try and get as much content to you guys during the draft and after the draft as humanly possible. So thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck to you and your favorite football team. I hope that they draft whoever you want. So you guys have a great day, and thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.